please come to the stage Lou Anthony Lamone, Hannah Fung, David Wright, and Tracy Klein. This is our last panel. Everyone, if you have not taken a seat, please sit down. We have a very exciting topic. We're almost done. Just a friendly reminder, we do have a raffle for those who registered online who are present. You're entered to win a round-trip flight to Vietnam, courtesy of Vietnam Airlines. But in exchange, if you do not want to go to Vietnam, you get $1,000 cash. So we'll go around the room. Maybe go ahead and introduce yourself, your company, and just a brief intro.
Hello again. So my name is Anna. I am an attorney and we are doing living trust, will, estate planning in general, and probate and court. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Wing. I'm a founder of Top Tax and Accounting, ORSA. So the firm has been established about 10 years, and I'm working in tax and accounting more than 15 years. We're doing personal tax, in business tax, and tax planning. Thank you.
Hello. Hello, my name is Lou. I am a partner at Wynn & Lamone, a divorce law firm. That law firm is dissolving this year. I am also a founder of Lou Anthony Law Office, where I specialize in breaking people.
Hello, my name is David Wright, and I'm a broker at PHP Insurance, where we do also taxes and health insurance, we do commercial insurance, property insurance, workers' comp. So we try to be a full service company.
These topics are, I have to be very candid, they're not the sexiest topics to talk about, but it's very important, within our lives, we're building families, it's all about protection and understanding what is it that we need to do, down the line and expect the unexpected. So thank you so much for being here and taking time out of your Saturday. Okay, so for estate planning, what is the difference between a will and a living trust, and why does it matter?
Thank you. And one of the most important things that different between the two is that if you do have a will, you still need, not you because you are not around in that anymore, so your beneficiary will still need to go through a probate procedure, and that is very costly. This takes a lot of time. I can give you a very high level number of that. I think that most of us have at least a primary home, and with a million value, a market value of the house, then total probate costs may be ranging from $20,000 to easily $30,000. And including statutory fee for attorney, assessment, and other related costs. The difference is that one can avoid probate, which is a trust, and one that the beneficiary still have to go to the probate.
What happens if a homeowner passes away without an estate plan in California?
So we call that intestacy. So meaning that when one passed away without leaving a will, without leaving a trust, without leaving any documentation, then again probate is a high burden for the beneficiary. And also I think that for this discussion, I know that we have a limited time today, but also think about the medical recovery law as well. So generally that if you leave no document, but you leave your property, then your beneficiary will need to go through probate. And the government might collect Medicaid. In California, we have medical benefits for long-term care, like nursing home, in-home services, and also hospitalization. So they can collect it. They will collect it before allowing your beneficiary just to take the shares in your estate.
And then for insurance, what insurance coverage do most homeowners not realize they need?
That's a good question. I'd probably say personal asset protection, like personal property protection, because your homeowner's insurance is going to cover like the basic things like your sofa, your TV, and your kitchen. If you have anything extra valuables that you think might be covered under your property insurance, you might need to list them separate, under like a separate policy that you pay a little more premium for.
We're currently having a live session on stage, so if you're towards the back, you can just tone it down a little bit. Thank you. And why are insurance premiums increasing so much in California right now?
Well, I would say most of that's due to the extreme weather and the fires and earthquakes that have happened recently. But they are doing a lot to try to mediate that and bring the cost of the premiums down. So I know right now there's the California Fair Plan. So if you don't qualify for insurance, you can qualify for the Fair Plan. But even with the Fair Plan, they're trying to kick everyone off of it. So they're welcoming the insurance companies to come back to California, which means that they're going to allow the premiums to actually go up a little bit for the next year or two, to help get a little bit of solvency into the system. So, but what that means is over time it will bring the cost of the premiums down. But we're basically going to have to pay for like any future catastrophes up front before they happen. That way, when they do happen, we'll be prepared.
And what should homeowners ask their insurance agent before buying or renewing a policy?
I would just go over the specific coverages that you require for your home. Everyone has a different scenario, especially if you're having an ADU, which we just talked about. You might get ADU insurance, but realize that it doesn't actually cover everything that you were expecting it to. So everyone's looking for the quick, low premium, especially if you just bought a home. You probably spent all your money on buying your house, and now you realize you got to buy insurance. You might not have thought about that. And what the cost of that might be. So you might just pay for like the cheapest insurance that's not going to cover everything that you want covered. So if you're going to go back and re-look at your policy, I would just break it down, see what's actually covered, what's not covered.
Great, thank you. And then for the tax, what are the biggest tax benefits of homeownership?
Well, if you own a house, congratulations, that's the first thing. But talking about tax, the benefit if you own a house is that you can, now you can have another option, which is itemized deduction instead of standard deduction, which, is fixed by the IRS, 15K every year. It will change every year, but, now you can deduct whatever you pay for your mortgage, whatever you pay for the property tax. That wasn't, if you don't own a house, you cannot deduct those things. And it could be, like 30, 40K. So I would say that's the main things for if you own a house. Besides that you have properties.
And then what tax mistakes do homeowners or investors commonly make?
One of the things that I always been asked, should I just hide my rent income? Should I just not report that because I don't want to pay tax? But unfortunately, if you don't report your rent income, then you cannot deduct the loss. Let's say, do it a smart way, report it, because you owe something, right? You generate income, right? Just report it. But find something else, like find deduction, for example, depreciation, but maintenance or you hire someone to cleaning everything, you can deduct that. That's the like the tax strategy behind the scene. So so don't be afraid to report, to just not like, oh, I just need cash, no other than cash. No, just report it. But find a good CPA to do the tax planning for you.
And lastly, what should families know before transferring property to their children?
Oh, I would defer that to my attorney who do the labor trust. This is, an amazing tool that everyone should do labor trust. Not, and one of the things would be give and inherit. So be advised by a CPA or your attorney how you structure your property, because those things will be different.
Can I just add in, so you know that attorney and CPA should be a dual assistant to your family, because you know that we are not having an effective planning without looking at the taxes consequences, and then you should not remove with your taxes without looking at the legal consequences. So that's why I'm working very closely with Vanessa, not only for very high net worth profile, but you know that we are like middle class as well, and that is my recommendation. Please just don't take it like lightly for any of legal in Texas.
And of course, when the inevitable happens, what typically happens to a home during a divorce in California?
Hello. Can you repeat the question?
What typically happens to a home during a divorce in California?
Yes. Okay. So first, I want to ask the audience: how many of you guys are married? Oh, you're getting divorced that soon, right? Okay. How many are not married? Okay, just trying to see who's single here. Okay, so what happens in a divorce is generally you will argue about the house. You will fight over realtors who's going to sell it. If you can't decide which realtor you want, the judge will decide for you. You will pay attorneys to make that decision. You will lose maybe a lot of time and a lot of money in that process to eventually just sell the house and divide it equally. Sometimes, if you're able to, you can prove up what we call a separate property claim. So, for instance, if you inherited money, like $300,000 for a down payment for the house, that spouse who inherited that money, they get that $300,000 first. But generally, what happens is that you're going to sell it, fight over it, and lose a lot of money.
And then what financial mistakes should couples avoid during a divorce involving real estate?
I think the biggest financial mistake, or I guess cautionary tale you can do to avoid the negative consequences of a divorce is probably not to get married. The second most common mistake, I guess, one of the common mistakes in a divorce when selling a house is being too emotion driven. Okay, I've had cases where husband and wife are arguing and spending attorney's fees on how much they should list the house for, which is stupid because I would just tell them just listen to the realtor. They would spend a lot of time and money arguing about which offer to accept, which is stupid because you just don't choose the highest offer. And instead, they let their emotions drive. So sometimes husband will have their chosen realtor, and they're the ones who prevailed and got the realtor. And sometimes the spouse will decide to jeopardize the sale for emotional reasons, such as they're no longer in the house because of a restraining order, and they don't have any custody of the kids. So it essentially becomes a war between what used to be two lovers, and they essentially lose a lot of their net worth to the process. I think that answers the question. Okay, cool.
it's interesting because as you know, we went to the first panel was the how to start the home buying process. So we get couples that are newly minted, newlyweds, happy. You know, every decision is just rainbows and butterflies. But when it goes down the line and you get the point that you have to contact Blue and have to talk about divorce, that's when you're kind of experiencing the worst state of people. Like you said, right? It's now instead of lovers, now they're enemies. And you're having to strategize and figure out what's the best approach dealing with high emotions on top of already a very complicated process. So, what advice would you give someone trying to protect the future financially after divorce?
I would say that if you want to protect your financial future from a divorce, is to not get married. The second most important, and I guess the second best thing you can do is get a premarital agreement. The third and worst option, second to worst option, is to get a postnuptial agreement. And I guess what number I'm on, fourth or fifth, the last option is just to wing it, which is what like 90% of everyone who goes through a divorce does, because I can get into like the philosophy of marriage and why it's a archaic but still widely held institution in America, or just in general. I don't want to be, country specific, but I won't. I would say that those three things that I discussed: don't get married, premarital agreement, or postnuptial agreement. Those are probably your best bets at not losing all of your money in a divorce. You know how they say like you lose 50% of your net worth in a divorce? It's more like you lose 2/3 of your net worth because the attorneys take the other third. And that happens when you just keep on arguing with each other about really dumb things, especially when kids are involved. Some of my cases involve like, should the child do baseball or soccer? And they have spent like $100,000 in court over these issues. That's like a down payment on a condo here, or half of a down payment on a condo here. Anyway, I think I answered the question.
So we know when we reach the stage of divorce, we talk to Lou, and if we are looking for insurance, we seek out David. But regarding CPA and estate planning, a lot of people don't know this, but how early should they seek out, to speak to someone?
It would never be too early to start. So that's my advice. Because what we are doing is a revocable planning, so you can change it, you can adjust it, you even can cancel it. Or if there's nothing changed, I also would recommend that you review it after a certain time, like 5 years, 10 years. So the early, the better. So that's really the advice. And I just want to, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to ask, like, how many of you here already have your baby trust and estate planning set up? Wow, not so many. So thank you, sir. So not so many. So for others, yeah, that's what you should do. That is the advice.
So, what are some parting words or advice you want to give to our audience before we finish? What advice would you give to our audience?
My advice in terms of taxes, not seeing me in April 15, please. Because if you see me in April 15, I will do the extension, which some of you don't want to hear that. But the truth is, if you want to have a tax planning strategy, so a good one, please always do around like October or so that your CPA can have plenty of time to plan for you. If you come to see the CPA on the 15th, especially me, I would prefer, the best that I can will be do the extension because I need time if you want to save more tax and if you don't want to pay to Uncle Sam. So that's it. Thank you.
One piece of advice for me
That you haven't said already.
that I have to say is you should get married. Maybe you should get married if that person is the right person for you. You're married to your job. That's not the right person for you. But you should also have a conversation of what marriage means before doing it. Primarily because you're entering into a legal contract, and almost none of you know what the terms are of that contract. I know many of the terms. You should probably at least ChatGPT it, or Google it, talk to a lawyer, because people enter their marriages because of emotional reasons, and they do not realize that it has such a meaningful impact on the rest of their life, because now you are sharing every paycheck, every asset you earn, every house, even the inheritance that you received from your mom for the down payment. Even though California law says that's your money, it still gets fought over. And attorneys will take $100,000 of that $300,000. So my advice to you, for all of you lovers out there, is to ensure that when you right swipe on that person, they have the same financial values as you, they have the same child rearing values as you, and you are not just, trying out marriage, if that makes sense. It's a contract for everyone, and it will destroy your generational wealth if it fails.
Co-counsel, may I just say something?
Yes.
So I think that's very good advice. But that if we are in a marriage already, and then now we have to think about those emotional decisions, I think that we should plan for it and then do it in a better way. Do you know that right now the new trending of "Would you marry me?" is like, "Would you please divorce me?" So I think that's that means a lot. We are not doing it in a way to impact our children, our very hard-earned property. So I think that going through emotional process of a divorce is really terrible, but be prepared for it and do it in the best way that you could. That would help a lot.
I agree.
Thank you.
And David?
Yeah, I think that the advice I would give after this panel is education. I think for all of us, educating ourselves, like the cross education we're receiving here today, is really important. But also educating yourself on your own personal situation, so we don't run into the trouble in the future. Is just understanding our homeowner's policy. Is it the right policy? At the end of the year when I do my taxes, have I done everything that I can do to maximize that benefit? But the most important education I think we could give today is to our children, and I love that we have all these children here today. But I wish I had that education growing up, because it took me well into my adulthood to think about or understand this. And if I had, when I was 18 or 20, taken a lot of these steps we're talking about today, I would be in a way better position. So we can teach our communities and our youth.
I agree.
I think this topic was just, it's very heavy, but it also requires a lot of preparation and understanding, who to talk to, because it's never too early. And of course, going through life stages and challenges, being able to have the right people to talk to guide you through the process. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of legal documents, so being able to have someone right by your side to understand everything from A to Z. And I think, being part of the organization, having resources, that's the number one thing. As you go through the home buying process, you have the home, and now, what happens after the home? Life changes, relationship changes, and now you have to plan for the aftermath. So, your panel is the most one, I would say one of the most important, is one of the most heavy, but I think it's one of the most real for our community and guests to understand to protect themselves in their wealth building. So thank you very much all for being here. Round of applause. With everyone waiting, we have the raffle. Must be present to win, okay? This is for the round trip flight to Vietnam via Vietnam Airlines. Randy, can we have you pull the raffle up here for the grand prize? So in equivalent, if you do not want to travel, you can exchange your ticket for $1,000 cash. But if you're like me, I'm gonna be the next flight out. I'll fly out tomorrow. You will not see me. Okay, to get a good spin, thank you Vietnam Airlines for your sponsorship and your donation. It's a very, very exciting moment. Can we have some drum roll? This is a moment everyone's been waiting for. Okay, are we ready? 0, 7, 6. Anybody got those 3 numbers all right? You did? Good job. Okay.
The winner?
0, 7, 6, 3, 1. Anybody got up to that point? Yay? Raise your hand, please. Okay, good job. 7, 6 is the last one. 0, 7, 6, 3. Oh, 7, 6, 3, 1, 7, 6. Can you want to say a few words?
Thank you everyone for coming. This is a very informative section and summit all related to real estate. And I'm looking to be the winner today. Thank you.
Does he get a voucher or?
Please present the voucher. He's not going home without it, or else his wife gonna have to file for a 50-50 split on that ticket somehow. Congratulations.
Courtesy of Vietnam Airlines. All right, everyone, that concludes our real estate summit. Thank you all so much for coming.
Please make sure to stick around, talk to the vendors and all that stuff before you guys take off.
We also have barbecue that's right out front for purchase. Make sure you stop by their booth. Thank you everyone for coming out and joining us today in our Silicon Valley. Thank you to all our volunteers, sponsors, everybody. Thank you so much.